Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kristen. Thank you guys for joining me today. So I was at work, and of course, you know, I always come home and then I have like a project for myself before I have to go do another job. So I realized that I was out of my fermented limes. So I wanted to go ahead and try to make some more really quickly. It's a super easy recipe. It takes like no time. Basically what it is, and I will put the information in this video, but you're gonna go ahead and take your lime, which I've already done it. This is the problem. I come in the kitchen and I start doing stuff and I forget that I should be recording when I'm doing this. So you're gonna cut the lime until it looks like this. It doesn't have to be exact. This one's actually already coated in sugar. I got about 10 of them. I've put them in this bowl, as you can see. And then it's going to be, so it's 10 limes. It is 4 tablespoons or 4 to 6 tablespoons of sugar. And then it's gonna be a half of cup, and I've got this big Redmond's real salt. I buy it by the large container. It's a half a cup. So as you can see, I'm gonna flip it down the camera. All right, so there you go. So it's gonna be a half a cup. I'm just gonna pour this over the top, and then I'm just gonna kind of mix it in. You wanna make sure that even if they split, just make sure that that salt really gets all in these limes. You're gonna leave it for about 24 hours covered. You don't have to put it in the refrigerator if you have a cool home, but you otherwise just put it in the refrigerator. And you're gonna get a lot of juice out of it. Just make sure they're super stuffed with that salt like that. And there's plenty of recipes out there, so just look online. If you don't find something, leave it for 24 hours. And then what you're gonna do is just transfer it to like a mason jar or some type of a sealed jar. And you're basically gonna let it sit for about 3 to 4 weeks. And it will be preserving during that time frame. And then you can consume it. Now I can tell you that I know that people buy a lot of lemons. They use it in Mediterranean food a lot. My uncle is Persian, and so this is something that in his culture that they eat quite a bit, is these types of citrus. And so that's why I wanted to go ahead and make this today. That's what it's gonna look like. Like I said, go ahead and put some foil or some clear wrap over the top of this. Leave it for 24 hours. After that 24 hours, you're gonna go ahead and add it into a mason jar. I usually put a fermenting lid on the top of that mason jar. And so after you do the mason jar, you're just gonna go ahead and fill it, squish it all down in there the best you can. You can even add the juice, that's really important, but obviously like with any type of fermentation, don't let it get too high over the top so that it doesn't spill over. And it's really that simple. Like I said, leave it for about 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. And then after that, you can consume it. Now, you don't wanna eat the inside of it. It's really more about the rind, which I know is kind of weird, but it's an awesome way to sit there and preserve your lemons or your limes, or sometimes I've actually seen people do it with like an orange. So like when my uncle was growing citrus, he had a lot of like navel oranges and stuff, so you can absolutely use a navel orange and try it that way and just see what you like. A lot of people more prefer the lemons doing it this way, but culturally we have it here growing pretty prevalent in zone 9B in Florida, and so it is something that I can get my hands on, the citrus, and so that's what we do. You can even do this with key limes, so give it a try. Find some recipes that you guys are interested in, and then let me know what you think when you use them. All right, thank you guys. This was a really short video, but this is what happens. Like I said, I come in the kitchen and I start doing stuff, and then I'm like, man, I could have recorded that, and maybe somebody doesn't know how to do that. Like I said, super simple, super easy. All right, so bonus round. I have some lemons, and I also have some tangerines. So I'm gonna show you guys how we do it with the lemons and tangerine mix. Now, if you had all lemons, you could absolutely use all lemons for this recipe like we did the limes. But if you've got oranges, some people like to do the oranges too, or tangerines. So today we have the tangerines, and I have the lemons, and so that's how we're gonna do it. Remember, like I said, my uncle's from Persia, so you know, you make use of what you have. And I know some recipes out there say to go ahead and put the 24-hour rest in the refrigerator. Being in Persia at the time when my uncle was there, there was not a lot of refrigeration, and so they went 12 hours, squished down the lemons or tangerines or oranges or whatever they had, limes, and then they covered it back up for another 12 hours and let it rest again before really kind of beginning that fermentation process. The other thing I wanted to add for you all is that if you run out of juice, hopefully you have a couple of extra lemons laying around, or limes if you're doing the lime recipe, or oranges, and then squeeze that into your jar so that way you guys have enough that it fills to the top, because remember, you don't want the ferment to get air. So you can also use one of the glass mason jar weights that I've used in some of my other recipes, and then I put a fermenting lid on top of that. So you can also buy that from the mason jar company, and that's where I get my fermenting kit from. They also have that like stick that you can just push down your lemons or limes with. So just go online, check out the mason jar fermenting kit, and that's really the materials that you're gonna be using. And make sure that once you transfer it from your bowl, that you use a clean, sterile jar. So here we go. I'm gonna actually show you this one kind of more step by step so that you have the pieces that you need to be successful. All right, so here we go. You're gonna cut, as you can see with the lemons, I have cut the bottom of each side, and then I have cut down in making it like a 4 square, because what's gonna happen is you wanna stuff that salt and sugar in these crevices for the 24-hour resting period, okay? So it's super easy, even when you're using a orange or tangerine or lemon or lime. Cut off the end, split it. And it's okay if you cut it, because you just saw that I cut that one, and so it's just gonna break apart. No big deal. You're not ruining the recipe. Cut the end. And you can use that in for compost. Some people use it for cleaning. There's cleaning recipes out there. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and transfer these now into my plastic container. Now, if you have a glass container, I would probably personally prefer glass. I just don't happen to have one readily available right now, so we're just gonna go ahead and transfer it over there. Now I have used, it looks like maybe like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tangerines, and then 3 large lemons. I used so many tangerines because the tangerines are very small, as you can see. So if you were using oranges, I would probably only cut that back to maybe like 3 or 4 or less, just so you've got kind of got like the equal properties. Again, we're using the Redmond's real salt. I've got this huge container. It's gonna be a 1/2 cup. And I'm gonna make sure that is a super full 1/2 cup right there, okay? And I'm gonna sprinkle that all over. Make sure we're getting in those crevices there, those lemons. I usually like to toss this around a little bit, because that way I know it's really getting into everything, okay? Because you want every inch of that really, really covered, okay? Now, oranges are pretty sweet. I happen to just be using this, reusing it. You're really gonna put, you know, a good solid 2 to 4 tablespoons of sugar in there. I'm actually using cane sugar, okay? And then I'm gonna get in, and I'm just gonna really make sure that it got into all those crevices. If they split up, it's fine. Don't fret, you didn't do anything wrong. It's not, the recipe's not gonna go bad. Just make sure it's really, really beautifully coated. And if you have to get lemons from the store, that's okay. Just make sure that you try to get as much wax off as possible. Natural is better. Like I said, here in Florida, we have access to a lot of citrus, and so it makes it a much easier process for us. And this is how you make your fermented or preserved lemons. Like I said, it's really prevalent in the Mediterranean. And what you're gonna use this on, I think it's beautiful once this whole process occurs. You're gonna follow the same steps that we did before. Just remember that you're 12 hours, smush them down, 12 hours again, do another smush down of them. You can refrigerate them or not. Look up a recipe that works best for you. And then after that is really when that preservation process begins. And you're going to want to go ahead and refrigerate it at that time for up to 3 weeks. Now these should be good in the refrigerator after that for consumption for approximately, 4 to 6 months. Just keep an eye on it. And it is literally that simple. All right, so what recipes do I actually use this in? I can tell you guys that we use it with fish. In the Mediterranean, there's a lot of seafood that's available depending on where you live. And so it is used on a lot of fish recipes. You could use it on poultry. I would think that that would be really good. Or if you choose to consume pork, you could use it on pork. Now, if you're a vegetarian, you might want to use obviously a meat alternative and give it a try and see if you like it that way. Sometimes I just like to add it when it's done to salads. Make sure that you are pulling out the middle of all of this. You're really wanting to get the rind and not the actual insides of the orange, the lemon, or the limes. You could also do this with grapefruit. Just make sure that somebody doesn't have a heart condition that they wouldn't be able to consume grapefruit, because I know with some medications, grapefruit can affect how people's medication is. And so just keep that in mind. Obviously, safety first. Don't do anything that you would cause harm to someone. So this is just what we do, and so I wanted to share that with you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this little bit of bonus. And like I said, like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. All right, everybody, so it's the next day. We've allowed for the lemons, the limes, and the tangerines to soak in that salt brine. Not really a brine, but just the salt mixture. And this is what it looks like. The limes really have not accomplished too much. There is some liquid in there, but not a whole bunch. What I'm gonna end up doing is I've washed my hands, and I'm gonna go ahead and transfer this over to this jar. But before we do that, I just want you guys to see a couple of books that I have. This is Insane in the Brine. Might be something that you guys might be interested in. I have gotten a couple of recipes out of this one. This is not my favorite, but I do have it. It's Nourishing Traditions. It's got quite a few recipes that you can use for fermenting, along with other, homesteader or homemaking type recipes in it. Like I said, that one's actually not really my favorite. I mean, it's good, but I'm definitely a picture girl. I like books that have like pictures and kind of show you what to do and just more clearly kind of laid out. This book is my absolute favorite book. This is just Fermented Vegetables. It's a wonderful book. It has so many great recipes in it, and I highly recommend that if you're going to invest or you want to learn more about doing this type of process, then definitely take the time to invest in this book, because it will really give you a lot of great recipes and then educate and teach you on things that maybe you didn't even think about using or fermenting. So that's a really, really good book. All right, so I also forgot to show you guys yesterday. I was out in the garden and I started picking tomatoes. So we're coming in to the tomato season, which is awesome. So I gotta get those processed. I'm probably just gonna drop those in the freezer or make some salsa with them, maybe do some fermented salsa. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start dropping the limes in. That's Luna back there drinking. I should have probably gotten a funnel for this so that way I'm not transferring that juice all down the side, but hindsight. Oh yeah, I'm getting salt all over. I'll have to wipe this down before I kind of seal it and allow it to continue moving forward with the fermentation process. Now there's definitely quite a bit of salt still left in this bowl, and potentially some sugar. So you want to go ahead and scrape and get all of that out because you really need that juice. This is the same as any other fermenting type recipe. You're going to want to ensure that you are getting all of this deliciousness under the water brine that it's making for itself. Now here's the thing. Some people will tell you to go ahead and, you know, add extra lemon or lime or tangerine juice to it now. I'm going to tell you this. You do what is best for you, obviously, but for me personally, that's not the step that I would take. I would hold off just about 2 or 3 more days before I made that decision, because the liquid is definitely going to start to come through the more that these lemons and limes are in this ferment. So don't worry about that just yet anyway. And if not, like I said, get some lemon juice, get some, you know, if you've got some extra tangerines, you can go ahead and squeeze those if that's what you need to do. And I forgot to add, which I don't know what I was thinking, but one of the glass weights. I need to find a glass weight and actually drop this in so that we're really getting the pressure down on these lemons, limes, and tangerines. Our pollen has been so super thick with all the oak trees in bloom, and I can't understand why it's been so bad this year. Ooh. See, this one's so fat that it just can't, or thick, it can't fit in there, so. This definitely is kind of a messy job, but you know, it's worth it. It tastes delicious, so why not? Yeah, look at all that salt in there. I mean, this is just heavily salted, but like I said, this is a ferment, so no really bad bacteria are going to start to grow in here because it's so heavily salted and citric. You know, it's got that citricness acid to it that it's just, it doesn't leave a lot of room for bad bacterial growth. I don't know where I put that mallet, but you definitely want to have it available, or you're just going to end up doing what I'm doing right now, which is just really squishing all this in here so that we can start seeing that juice come up, because that's really what we need. And I definitely will tell you, in the past when I've done this, if need be, you can, like tomorrow, come back and do the same thing. If you need to keep pushing down on this and squishing it to get the juice, then by all means do it. It may, that's what I'm saying, it may take 3 or 4 days before you're really gonna start to see this juice come up. All right, so I don't know where that glass mason jar top is right now off the top of my head while I'm shooting this video, but just go on the Mason website and look at the fermenting kit. I think Amazon also might have the fermenting kit. It will come with those glass weights with the handle that you can push in. This is a wide mouth jar, so it's gonna, you know, you're definitely gonna need to be able to do that because like I said, this really needs to be under the water. This is gonna ferment for about 3 to 4 weeks out. Just keep an eye on it, you know, just keep shifting it, making sure stuff's getting where it needs to be, and then you're pretty much good to go. Wipe this rim off. I'm not gonna go ahead and seal it right now just because I need to wipe it off, but this was just for more demonstration purposes of what we do. I'm gonna use this fermenting lid. It's got the nipple here so that it can breathe. You can see here it's got the air that will release, but it doesn't allow for air to go in, and you'll just screw it on with one of the mason jar original silver lids. Just make sure you're really wiping off this because the salt will start to corrode the aluminum in the mason lid top. So there you have it. You can see that it's already looking beautiful. A lot of salt in there, a lot of salt, but like I said, this is going to take a period of time. So you want that salt to be in there so that it can really get that brine going and start tasting beautiful, and those skins are just gonna be absolutely delicious and bring out a flavor that most of us aren't really used to consuming, or at least people that I know aren't used to consuming as much, or friends that I know. So hopefully you guys learned something out of this and that you are enjoying the videos. I got a package today, so I am excited. That's probably going to be my next video, is I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to open up that box with y'all, and I really need to get out in the garden and get these plants probably put in the ground. So I look forward to you guys coming back and checking out that next video that I'll be shooting. All right, thanks everybody for watching. I will see you all in the next video. All right, so a little bit of bonus footage. So people always say, what do you eat for dinner? So super quick, I know people are like, they don't have time to make home meals or whatever. Chicken wings tonight. Sorry, I'm running the dishwasher. Super easy. Pack of organic chicken wings, which we picked up from Costco. Although we do have a chicken lady now and somebody that we've ordered a half a cow from, but that's a story for another day. Use a little bit of this or make up your own seasoning. This is just quick and convenient. And then it's going to be equal parts of that with equal parts of cornmeal. You can order this online from Amazon. I like this brand. Add a little bit of dash of flavoring. Redmond's real salt is always a good thing to add on to it. You can add some parsley. You can also throw a little bit of garlic on top if you want. You're going to cook this. This is a cookie sheet tray. I put aluminum foil on it, as you can see. I sprayed the bottom of that tray with some olive oil. You're gonna put little pads of butter, as you can see that I did, on top of it, because that's what's gonna really keep it moist. Okay, you're gonna cook it at 365 for 350 to 365. My oven's 365 because it's kind of lower on the temperature, for 45 minutes. Flip these wings halfway through that process so that they're getting both sides really nice and crisp. For the last 15 minutes, crank that oven up to 400 degrees. Between 400 and 425. 400 is for normal people. My oven is 425. And I'm gonna cook them for the last 15 minutes on 425 for me, 400 for normal people, and give it that nice crisp texture to it. My fiance loves these, his friends love these, and so that is what he will be eating for dinner tonight. And we're gonna throw some green beans out of the freezer. That's why I love that like suck and seal machine. Just cut that bag open, throw it in. You've got vegetables, meat. I'm probably gonna throw some arugula. I'm gonna eat some arugula tonight because we just have abundance in arugula. Arugula's not his favorite, but it's mine. And I'm gonna go out there and get some other herbs from the garden. So there's your bonus footage. It doesn't have to be a difficult process. It's just a little bit of time. And so you are worth it. You need to value yourself, and food is one of the things that you need to take into consideration. And eating a good meal at home is really important these days, and learning how to cook. So hopefully that was a nice little quick recipe that you can do, and I hope you enjoyed it. All right, if you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. I'll see you guys on the next video.